Hello and welcome back to my top 10 best Doctor Who stories. Today we are on number 6, which is Blink. It's starring David Tennant and Freema Agyeman. Basically the story, the plot to this is the Doctor and Martha are somehow trapped in 1969 without the TARDIS. This is caused by the Weeping Angels in their debut episode. And basically Sally Sparrow, who is basically the random main character in this episode, has to somehow get the TARDIS back to the Doctor. So, we shall start with good points. I like the creepy rundown house setting, which is most of the episode. Well, a good part of it anyway. The concept of the Weeping Angels is amazing. I mean, in the episode, they're insanely scary, very creepy Doctor Who monsters in general. They're just really well thought out in this episode. They're just really good. They're basically generally well used in the episode. I think their concept makes them able to be well used, especially in this episode. It's a good way to have a Doctor-like episode. I think everything around it of how the Doctor and his companion are sent back in time. It's kind of a good way to make a Doctor-like episode that's kind of without the Doctor for most of it. But even though you don't see much of the Doctor in the episode, I think the fact that he's used sparsely, he's actually used very well in the episode as well. Even though Billy is a minor character in the episode, DCI Billy or Detective Inspect DI Billy or whatever, I think you connect well with him. Especially, there's a scene with old Billy and Sally, and it's such an emotional scene. It's very well done. I think it's my favourite scene in the actual episode, barring obviously the scary bits. If I ignore the scary bits, then I'd say this is the best scene in the episode, because it's really emotional. I like the idea of a DVD transcript thing where you can speak to yourself through DVD. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. When the angel is going for Lawrence or Laurie or whatever his name is, Lawrence Nightingale, which sounds a lot like Florence, or Laurie Nightingale, or whatever his name is, it's basically shit your pants scary. And so is the scene where the angel points at the light bulb. I think that's also shit your pants scary. To be honest, this episode, when I watched it when I was a little younger, when Series 3 was out, so good few years ago, I do remember actually be really scared of it. I was terrified of the episode. Absolutely terrified. I had to hide behind this literally made me hide behind the sofa, this episode, and it was nice to watch it again and relive that whole scariness. I've watched it several times, but it's just nice to go back to that, oh dear God, this is scary. There's a nice end to the episode as well with the Doctor, where the Doctor appears and Sally manages to give the DVD transcript to the Doctor, and he's busy doing other things, adventuring and things, and Sally just comes in, says, "You haven't met me yet, but here's this transcript, you're gonna need it," kind of thing. It's just a nice kind of wibbly wobbly timey wimey kind of I haven't met you yet. That's how it should be with things where, oh, he hasn't met me yet. Whereas when it kind of got to the whole River Song, he hasn't met me yet, and then I die kind of thing, and Silence of the Library, it was a bit harder to take that in comparison to, oh, he hasn't met me yet, but he knows me at the beginning of the episode, kind of thing. So yeah, that was a cool ending. But there was also a bit after the ending. Well, not after the ending, but this was actually the end. The sinister end where it suggests that the statues are weeping angels. I think that's pretty scary, that every statue in the world could be a weeping angel. That any inanimate stone statue, although some of them seemed a bit metallic, but every inanimate statue could be an animate statue, so a weeping angel. Something which is quite iconic in a way, because now you look at statues in a completely different way, which I liked about the episode. I think it's a very iconic episode in Series 3. I think it stands out as a good Doctor Who episode, even though it's a Doctor Light episode. It stands out, which is why it's on my list for best Doctor Who episodes, because out of the new series, it's one of the ones that stand out as a very, classical, kind of epic episode, where the monster kind of gets you thinking in reality about statues in real life. So that's basically all my good points. The episode, it's only one episode long, and fair enough, it's a new series, so it's 45 minutes, but it's hard to write loads of things about one episode. Bad points. There are very few bad points, because I generally think this episode is good. But here they are. How does the Doctor know where to pause on the DVDs? Because there's bits in conversation. Yes, he would have the whole transcript, but unless someone writes pause, then he's not going to know when to pause for Sally and Lawrence to have a conversation in between the pauses. And also, if you wrote down pause on the transcript, how would he know how long to pause for? That bit doesn't really stand out for me. And also, what was the point of 16 DVDs when only one of them was really used to be watched, and the other one was used for the TARDIS to be sent back in time? So 15 of those DVDs are totally useless out of the 17 DVDs that they have, which seems a bit stupid. Yes, you may need to have done that on 17 DVDs for something to stand out, but it just seems a bit stupid if 17 conversations were kind of useless when only one of them was really needed. But yeah, they're the only bad points I found with this episode. Yes, I think the Weeping Angels did outstay their kind of welcome by appearing more in Doctor Who after that. I think because they didn't really handle the Weeping Angels very well. If they didn't build up on the concept of them and kind of making the whole whatever an image of an angel is an angel, if you look into their eyes, you basically get an image of an angel going through to your soul kind of thing. All these things weren't necessary, I don't think. And yes, I'm having a bit of a ramble on about other episodes where Weeping Angels are involved, but I think it's relevant. But ignoring that, this episode itself is good, and if we don't look at the episodes after it with Weeping Angels, where they come up with all these concepts, then the Weeping Angels are quite a scary and plausible thing. If we did look at the concepts, in which if you look into an angel's eyes, it basically zaps an image of an angel into your soul and basically kills you from the inside, then we've kind of got to take it as, well, Sally Sparrow looked into the eyes of an angel, Lawrence looked into the eyes of an angel, thus they're probably dead or screwed. Unless this concept only works in Series 5. But never mind, ignoring that, a concept that was thrown out the window a lot of the time. Ignoring that, this episode is good-ish. So to sum up this episode, I've gave it a rating of 8 out of 10. Because I enjoyed it. It's very scary. There's some decent emotional scenes, and this is like the pinnacle of Stephen Moffat's writing, I think. I think it's a really good episode by Stephen Moffat. Probably one of its best that he's ever wrote. There are a few decent ones there are quite a few decent ones he's wrote. Not loads, but there are a few. But this has got to be one of the best he's wrote. So yeah, that's basically the review. Next time on my top 10 best, we will be reviewing Caves of Androzani, which will be number 5. But before that, we'll be reviewing number 5 on my top 10 worst, which is Carnival of Monsters. We'll be back with that one. Thank you and goodbye.